Good morning, English 119. This is Grant, and I'm just recording this short video to give you just a little introduction to visual rhetoric. We're going to talk more in the class about the video that you saw from yesterday, but I thought I'd record this video just to kind of give you a sense of what we're going to be looking at in the class. So, if a few of you have taken a rhetoric course before, you'll remember that rhetoric is all about the art of persuasion. So, it shouldn't be a shock that Berger's going to start looking at ads. Because ads are a way of visual rhetoric, right? We're trying to convince you to buy something. So the mode of visual rhetoric is all about creating arguments and persuasion with images. Now, a lot of the times we're going to be looking at single images, but what I want to introduce you to is to think about in your writing and composition how to convey arguments just visually. And if you've ever been to the doctor's office and they have a TV that's muted, if you're like me, you're always trying to figure out what is being conveyed. And, oftentimes it's really hard. And that should be the indication of a visual rhetoric or a visual medium that definitely needs some work. But if you can understand what the argument is by just looking at the images, or what the story is by just looking at the images, then it's doing a good job, because then the words are only elevating that. Okay? So I'm going to show you two examples of this. And I want you to think about both how some of the individual images might make a persuasive argument, but how when I put disparate images together, how they can create their own argument. Okay, so first case here. So if you're like me as a student, you probably have encountered a lot of Red Bull. So Red Bull, an energy drink, right? And when Red Bull first came out, it was all about extreme athletes, right? X Games were, considered extreme athletics. You can see both an airplane and that kind of, how many feet there are to kind of give this an extreme perspective, right? Red Bull is for extreme athletes. Now, maybe like 5 years ago or so, Red Bull started to make this turn to thinking about, well, it's not just extreme athletes, it's every day, right? This is supposed to be a woman trying to balance. It looks like a lot of computers, huh? But, like shopping, right? It's like everyday activities you need Red Bull for, right? It's not just extreme athletes, but you yourself are kind of an extreme athlete by just making it through the day. Okay, so here is a visualization on the non-farm business sector. This is the output per hour of all persons. So this is basically measuring productivity, right? And I want you to think about too, when you're doing these visualizations, the scales meant 1950 to 2010. That's a decision. The purple is also a decision. But you can just see that from 1950 to the present, it's been steadily increasing quite a bit. Okay. And the other thing is to think about vacation. So again, graphs, right? The blue, nice and positive, and then the red, right? And in this specific graph, you can see the little blue. I think in the way that this was originally being used was supposed to be a positive, right? That, people are starting to take more vacation, right? But, when you put the graphs together, right? More productivity, less vacation, okay? And when you think about how I've put that in line with Red Bull, right? What do you think I'm trying to say about Red Bull? Or what am I trying to say about our society and productivity, right? That, jobs have become life, right? Like people need more energy to just make it through life because there's more expectations, there's more productivity and less time off, so we need energy drinks. Okay, so I'm trying to make an argument by putting these images together. Okay, case number 2 here. This is going to be slightly different. So, regular coffee cup, right? Something that looks like you could get at Alpine or another place on campus, right? And, or, you could get this coffee from a gas station. This is a common gas station coffee. I mean, this is nice because it's Seattle's best. But, you can look at the colors. The colors are very primary, a lot of plastic, right? It looks like a inside of a 7-Eleven or a gas station, right? And then you have Starbucks, right? Where the coffee cup is now branded. You not identify it as just a regular coffee, but it's a Starbucks coffee, right? And the expectations that this is going to be more money. So if you look at what a Starbucks store looks like, I'm going to draw your attention. I mean, not only does this feel much different than the gas station, much more high end. The pictures at the right hand corner are all about production of beans, roasting, growing coffee beans, right? And that's not on accident, right? So, those are meant to make you think of, Guatemalan farmers that are farming your Colombian coffee. Right? There were ads in the 80s that were all about the growers and farmers to make you think of coffee, right? So, again, another graph, right? And think of the colors. So fair trade coffee is increasing exponentially, right? We have people that are demanding more fair trade coffee, which is a great thing, right? While the price of coffee, fluctuates, but it continues to kind of increase over time, right? If you just look at 1990 to 2012, right? It's definitely increased. Okay, so this gets back to Starbucks, right? You're buying Starbucks instead of going to the gas station. I mean, you might be like me and just go to the gas station and to get your coffee, but a lot of people, which there's nothing wrong with, get Starbucks, but are willing to pay twice or 3 times as much for the same product, right? So in this, all these images, I'm trying to say something, and I'm trying to make an argument that Zizek it makes about Starbucks, right? He says you feel good about buying Starbucks, especially because it's more expensive, because the extra money you spend it on will go to Guatemalan farmers, right? So there's a sense of this is nice, but the way the store looks and what the store's trying to tell you is ooh, and that's not, it's right next to the bar and the registers. That shouldn't be a surprise. I'm not saying that's a right argument, right? But you can make this argument with Zizek's making in words, you can make in images. Okay, so that's why I just want you to get from this video is you can make arguments with both singular images, but also sequences, and the sequence of those images really, really matters. So thank you.